you ever wonder how the stress of having children would affect your life? Or do you think about your lack of desire when it comes to the day-to-day tasks and responsibilities of having children? My partner Rick and I discussed this plus a whole lot more in this part 2 video where we continue listing the reasons we don't have kids. But before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we know that you love being here with us as much as we love being here with you. Let's dive in.
All right, we are up.
Yes, we are. It's a part 2 of top reasons we chose not to have kids. We did a part 1 and we are back. I think we were just so engrossed in our conversation last time that
we just kept going.
We had to split it up. So part 2 it is.
Yeah, and for part 1, for those who didn't see it, we covered lifestyle, personal development, and spiritual growth. That was my favorite. That was a good one. And cost of raising a child.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're gonna list our other 3, and to be clear, there's many more reasons than these.
Many more.
Right.
We're just listing some.
Yeah, some. And they, you know, what's interesting is they evolve and develop too.
Oh, and they shift. Yeah, absolutely.
It's really,
yeah. And I think the older that we get, the more appreciation we have for the child-free life. And so you're right. It does continue to change as you get older.
Yeah, that's unexpected. I didn't expect that to happen.
So what are we starting with today?
All right. So I wanted to start off, continue the list. One of my favorite ones, and I know that it's very close to both of us in the sense that it's our relationship. Really spending time that we have and the freedom of not having distractions of children, focusing on our relationship, the dynamic of our relationship, how our relationship has evolved because it wasn't always as good as it is now.
Right.
And it's a huge part of our happiness. And I think it's important to make sure that it's a priority, which we've made. But yeah, this is a good one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Our relationship is our top priority.
Yes.
There's nothing else, like top. Everything else falls underneath. Because at the end of the day, if we're not happy, if we're not living joyfully, then what's the point of being angry or resentful or miserable all the time? So allowing ourselves the time to work through things is so important for us.
It's so important. And one of the biggest things I've learned with you is that you need to make yourself happy first. I remember that was I was taken aback when you brought that up at first. I insinuated, I didn't say it like this because it's going to sound completely crazy, but I'll just say it this way so people can grasp kind of how I felt. Yeah. Which is, I expected you to make me happy, you know?
I know.
And you said to me, and I'll never forget this, you said, no, you should be selfish. You need to make you happy. I'll make me happy. We'll come together in our relationship and we'll figure out ways to navigate our challenges. But ultimately, you need to be happy first. And I wasn't happy.
Right.
And so I thank you for bringing that because I was in so many relationships where I depended on the other person to make me happy. And it made the world a difference only because you can really hone in on the specific things like communication and other things that require a lot of attention in order to make the relationship better.
Yeah.
And I bring it up because if we did have children, I don't know how much time we'd be able to spend on those things. Yeah. And having said that, I think one of the things that has really elevated our relationship, and I'd be curious if you agree, is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in order to address an issue.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to be. There's no way.
You have to be, but it's very hard to do.
Yes, it is very hard to do. But
because
there
that
is
ego bruise. And then all of a sudden you're defending yourself and you're taking this stance and to be vulnerable and stop down and say, you know what? Let me think about how you feel. Let me really hone in and put myself in your shoes. It's not easy when I disagree with what you're saying or doing.
It's not easy. It's not easy at all, but I have to say it gets easier. Can you say that at least? Because it's super hard in the beginning. Because you're just like,
it's still hard.
Like it is still hard. And I remember you would be like, because I'd be like, I'm saying what I'm supposed to say. And you're like, I could see it in your face that you're like not really meaning it. Like I would be like,
Yeah.
like just kind of,
Well, that comes in, that's where tone comes
yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah,
and how
exactly.
we need to,
So it was, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it was hard to like really take like our couples therapist would always tell us to, and this visual always say to me to take our armor off, and I envisioned me in this like night suit with like the clinkiness and the heaviness and really, because it takes a while to take all that stuff off, all that gear off, and the importance of going through that exercise before sitting down with you to have a conversation so that I'm not defensive
Yeah.
and so that I'm listening to what you're saying and so that I'm not jumping at the opportunity to say why I'm right or anything like that.
Yeah, it is easy. It's one of those easily said than done situations
Oh,
because
yeah.
we still have this problem at times, but you're
Mhm.
right. We're getting better at it, and I
Yeah,
am proud of us, but
yeah, I think we've gotten a lot better. I think the problem we still have is not so much coming into something with our defenses up, but our tone.
yeah, that's a work in
I
progress for
think that's
sure.
a work in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
both take on the tone of the way we were raised. We won't identify parents, but I mean, which parent, but we definitely take on that tone.
Yeah, yeah,
And because of that,
yeah.
we
It's
speak to
not
each other in
good.
a way that is not good. So
Right.
we're working on
And
that.
it's not us. It's not us doing it.
Well, we have to
It's
take some responsibility here, but yes, we
no, 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 no. I'm not saying that it's of course we're responsible. I'm saying remember that our therapist would say whenever she would get into these situations with her husband and she would act in a certain way, she would say, "Thanks, mom." You know, her mom has
but no,
passed away
she would
since.
say
She'd
if
say,
she was doing something
yeah.
that she inherited from her parents, she would
Mhm.
say, "Oh, mom just showed up."
Oh, right. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Mom
She would
just
say,
showed
"Oh,"
up.
she would just turn to her husband and say, "Sorry, mom just showed up. I apologize." That was a good one. We got to bring that
Yeah,
back.
we do have to bring that back.
Yeah,
I
that's a
really
good one.
like that
Yeah.
because, yeah, we do act like one of our parents and it's crazy, but that, at our age, we're still sorting through it, but it does come out sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just it goes without saying, and you just mentioned it, but we got to give credit to our therapist because she really helped us. Because when we first got
Yeah.
together, we were in bad shape. We were both emotionally and mentally, and just not in a good
Effed up.
place. Yeah, effed up. But we've come a long way. But it is a work in progress.
Yeah.
We're constantly trying to improve, and
Yeah.
we have our days that are really good, and we have bad days too, like any couple. And
Yeah, of course.
it is what it is. But we have the time is the point to really
Yeah.
focus on that on a day-to-day level. And
Right.
I say day to day because I often wonder how parents do it considering how much time we put towards it.
Well, I mean, I can give you an example. One of my friends who has two kids, she was telling me a story about something that was going on with her husband and that it was something wasn't working out and they're hitting the same roadblock over and over again.
Mhm.
And I said to her, "Okay, well, what have you tried so far?" Because I thought maybe if I learned what they had worked on, maybe I could offer some help.
Sure.
And she said to me, "We haven't tried anything. We don't have time to try things." And that really resonated with me because I couldn't imagine if we got into a fight or an argument and we just have to deal with it. I think that that would be really challenging to have that negative energy in our space. And it makes
Yeah.
me sad too, right? Because it's not like they don't love each other and it's not that they don't want to, but there's just there's too many external factors happening at the same time. So again, the fact that we can be in a fight, but we address it quickly. I mean, sometimes we need time to cool off or, whatever it is, or the next morning, but it's dealt with. It's
Well,
dealt with.
it doesn't simmer and boil up, right?
Right.
You're able to hit that relief valve more often
Yeah.
and manage your relationship.
Yes.
And when you have all those distractions, it can be tough. And I
Yeah.
have heard and read stories about you spend so many years raising your children and they become the focus of your life.
Mhm.
You don't have time to work on yourself. And then the children leave the house and go off to college. You're looking at each other and you're confused because you've evolved
Right.
as a
Like, who is
person.
this
You've
person?
grown
Yeah.
up. You know,
Yeah.
you were a different person. You're much younger when you had children. So now you've
Yeah.
evolved into a new person, and you have a different relationship in a lot of ways. For some people, I'm not generalizing here,
Yeah,
but
of course.
for some people,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, you know, maybe it flourishes because, oh, we get to revisit it and work on our relationship and spend the time as child-free people get to do constantly.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, in some circumstances, you realize that I don't even know who this person is anymore, and the
Mhm.
relationship ends, and that's sad. And you know, the point is that take advantage of this time if you're
Mhm.
child free, and if you're in a relationship, spend time working on it. You know, because
Yeah.
it is a luxury that we have. I'm not saying parents don't have that too, but it takes a lot more work, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course. And I want to specify here, I just thought of it when you said that. Like, we're saying work on your relationship, but to a point. If you're in a toxic relationship, you don't have kids, obviously, we're
Oh, of
not
course.
saying that.
Oh,
We're not saying that you should take time, you should go to therapy, you should do all the things. If that works for you, great. But if you're in a situation that's not right for you, that's not
oh,
what we're saying at all.
yeah,
But anyway, I
great,
just want to,
great
yeah,
disclaimer. And
yeah,
and I just to add on to that, I have been in a lot of toxic relationships, and I didn't leave them probably when I should have, and that is a serious thing, and you don't want to waste your time doing that, and
yeah,
especially that, you know, being in a toxic relationship with kids, forget about it. It's so much harder to leave.
yeah,
But if you're child free and you're in a relationship that's toxic,
yeah.
you have the freedom to move on and move up and meet someone that's better for you and be happier. So
Or not be in a
or
relationship.
not be in a
Yeah,
relationship. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Not be in a relationship.
yeah,
But the freedom is there. The option is there. I always say I appreciate my options. That's my new mantra.
yeah.
Every day I wake up and I appreciate my options.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the options aren't there because of financial reasons or whatever it is, at least you can work towards that goal
Yeah.
that you know that you're able to get out of a situation that you shouldn't be in.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
take advantage of your time and work on your relationship as we are still doing, and it
Yes,
is a work in
it
progress.
is. It
And
is.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the next one.
Yes, the next one is constant worry. I'd love to start.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the only reason why I want to start is because
Yeah.
I am, and you know, ever since I was a kid, I'm the biggest worrier in the world. And you know this, you're smiling because I know.
I mean, I'm not judging you at all because I think I'm in the same boat when it comes to that. But
Yeah,
go
but I
ahead.
worry way much
Well, that's
more.
true.
I worry
That's
about
true.
me
You worry about
personally.
everything
I
under the
worry
sun.
about everything. You bring in children into that, and I
Yeah.
worry just enough about us, about the world, about other people, about me and my health. Well, you name it, and you bring in a child to that dynamic, and
Mhm.
it is a recipe for disaster. So, so yeah, that tops the list for me only because
I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact that you would worry. And that's how I feel too. I am such a worrier when it comes to you, when it comes to Eddie, our friends, our family members, this community. I know, like, I'll watch a scene. I'm watching a TV show now and it's with a teenage daughter. I know I would be insane. I remember I had one of my best friends when we were growing up. Her mom used to always wait up for her no matter what time she came in. She would be on the couch. She
are you
needed
serious?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. She needed to, as soon as she opened the door, her mom would be on the couch, would see her, and then her mom would go up to bed. And I thought it was insane. I'm like, this is so ridiculous that your mother does this. I think I would do it.
I
I
don't.
think I would be so, especially like if they just got their license and they're out and about. Like I worry too much. I worry about, there's no way. I mean, I could talk for an entire hour about all the things that have gone through my head that would cause me so much stress when it comes to having children.
Yeah, and especially today when I was growing up, I don't think my parents, I felt like I was just kind of on my own. I don't know how much they worried about me. They probably did. They probably did.
I'm
But
sure. Yeah.
it felt like there wasn't as much to worry about. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And nowadays, it
Yeah.
just seems that there's so much to
Like
worry
a
about.
laundry list. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
with technology, with the state of the world, with, you know, we could go into schools and
The education system.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
we won't go into that, but I don't know. I wouldn't be able to handle it for sure. I mean, it's definitely a top reason for me for that exact reason. I
Well,
would be a nervous nightmare. I'd be a zombie because I'd be taking so much medication just to stay calm all the time. And that wouldn't be healthy either.
No, but yeah, you're right. I mean, back then, obviously it's different. There was no social media. There was no, whenever you wanted information, there was no slew of bad news just scrolling through your phone about what the possibilities are that could happen to your child.
Yeah.
So it was a different time, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that I would assume my parents worried, but also my parents were in a different situation. They were trying to keep us afloat, right? So they're worried about paying the bills. They can't be worried about every step I take. So it's definitely something that maybe I didn't see from my parents, but well, they were very strict. So maybe I just didn't see it because I wasn't allowed to do anything. End of story. But I know for a fact that I would be so concerned from day one and forever.
I would love to know how many people, and please comment below with this, that worry would top your list. You know, I don't know if I'm just neurotic and crazy because of my
well, you have anxiety. We both do.
Yeah. I do have massive anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't help it. It certainly would exasperate it if we had children. But yeah, I mean, it seems not only that, it would take a toll on me just because of the stress, you know? I mean, from a health standpoint, that worry, you know, stress and worry is one of the leading causes of a lot of disease when it comes to just your physical health.
Right.
And your mental health for that matter. And I just can't imagine adding to that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm even thinking about, we just drove to Florida not too long ago. Packing the car with me, you, and Eddie was not, I don't know if I would say stressful, but there was just a lot going on because
you can say stressful. I was stressed. And it was me, you, and a dog.
True.
I was stressed. I was like, oh my, the dog carrier. And then,
and then I had to pack him, and like packing his bag is insane because we brought everything on the sun just in case.
I mean, we would have to pull over to get him water and feed him and let him go to the bathroom.
Right.
And that was stressful. And I can't imagine. And we stopped a lot.
And the car was packed.
It was packed, and I felt like we stopped a lot. So if you have kids, how many times are you stopping on an 18-hour road trip, you think?
We didn't really stop a lot. You wanted to have no stops. So whenever we did stop once or twice, you were like, this is crazy. It's going to get into our time. But it's going to cut into our drive time. But we definitely did not stop a lot. But yeah, I mean, first of all, how can we fit anyone else into the car? The car was packed.
Yeah.
I guess you have to leave stuff behind. I don't know. I don't know what people do. But yeah, it was stressful planning for that with just the three of us.
Yeah, it was. I can't imagine packing up a car full of kids and driving across country.
Or going on a flight whenever, because Eddie flies with us all the time.
I mean, I stress just going somewhere by myself on a flight. It's like, I can't imagine. When you and Eddie come, it's just like, I have to mentally prepare for it for like a week. It's insane.
Right. It's exactly. So it goes back to knowing ourselves, right? Like knowing ourselves enough to know that, can we handle the situation? Probably, right? I'm not going to give us no credit, but it's more about, do we want to?
That would be a hard no. Let me ask you this real quick. Seriously. When you speak to your friends that are parents, do they talk about things that they worry about? I'd love to know, like, do they not even bring it up? Because maybe they don't worry as much as I think. Maybe I'm just projecting on how much I would worry.
No, I don't know. I mean, they fill me in. I'm interested on their kids all the time. I don't know if it's constant worry. They're more so filling me in, but I do think that from what I've witnessed, that the worry and the stress, you sort of get used to it with like child number 2 and then child number 3 and child number 4, etc. So I do think that with time, there's probably a leveling off point where you're not as stressed and as worried, and then you're able to deal with the chaos on better.
My gosh. I mean, I'm just think of all the little micro moments that would happen in a day that you would worry about. I mean, like if they're on their phone, you're like, are they looking at porn? If they're, if they're going to school. They're like, who are they
Are they getting bullied? Are they
getting
doing
bullied?
bullying? Are they,
if they're up in their room,
are they learning?
Are they up in their room?
Yeah.
Are they doing their homework? Are
Oh,
they,
yeah.
are they even home? Did they
Yeah.
leave? And
Right.
do I not?
Are they taking fentanyl? Like, what's
Yeah,
happening?
there's so much.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm stressed and I don't even have this problem, and I'm stressing out right now.
It's
This is stupid.
extremely stressful.
Yeah.
And all at the same time, I think about this a lot, is raising a human being with the values that you want them to have, raise them to be good people. Like, there's just like, you're molding this person to be a well-rounded, healthy, global citizen.
Well, that's like the next tier, right? Because the first tier is just keep them alive. You know, so because I mean, no, it is. It's, if you really think about it, it's like, make sure that they don't die or get seriously damaged in any way, you know, physically or mentally or whatever.
Right.
And then there's, once you get past that and you can manage that, now you have to worry about
everything else.
Making sure that they're an upstanding citizen and they're going to be successful and they're going to have a good career and that they're going to find the right partner
and they're going to be emotionally stable. Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me too. It's funny because sometimes I'll watch, like, whether it's in a movie or at the park or somewhere in a store, and I'll watch a parent showing their kid how to do something, right? Like, maybe, you know, we're at a restaurant and they're showing the child that the fork is inside the napkin, let's say, and they're like, see, you have to unroll the napkin and there's the fork, you know, kind of.
Now we're getting into patience.
So,
God.
So I always, whenever I see something,
I'm so happy we have these conversations, because it really makes me feel better for the rest of the day that I made this choice, that we made this choice.
The amount of patience, and it always makes me think to myself, wow, you have to teach them everything.
I'm still teaching myself stuff. Right?
True. We both are.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing to me that you have to teach them every single thing about life, and not just about like the day-to-day, learn how life works, but know how to handle things emotionally.
Yeah.
Is so important, and have, you know, teaching someone that. So kudos to parents.
To any that might see this video, I salute you. That is not easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just not for me or you. I can speak for you, clearly.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Worry is definitely a good one. This is a big one. This was actually our number one reason. We ranked them, but we didn't. But lack of desire came in at number one when we counted down our top reason.
Yeah.
At the time, I do feel like that was the main reason for both of us in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it would be my main. I guess lack of desire is my main reason.
I think so. I
just feel like the logistics of raising a child, there's so much, I guess, coming off the worry stress conversation.
Yes.
It's like lack of desire seems like so remedial and small.
Right. And lack of desire was huge for me too, because when I was going through my journey of trying to figure out and sorting through my head, is child free for me? Is this the path I want to take? And knowing full well that I did not want to be a mom, but still struggling for so many reasons, that I was maybe potentially not making the right decision by living a child-free life. Lack of desire seemed to me, because also other people were telling me that it's not enough of a good reason. It was almost like, well, how can you have the desire for it? You don't know. Like, it was all these weird explanations that people were giving me. But at the end of the day, I did not want that lifestyle. Like, it was clear to me what I saw. I wasn't really wanting that to be my day to day. Now, it's different from what I call snapshot moments, which we've talked about here, is that when you see that moment that, a parent and a kid is having this special bonding time and it's really sweet. I'm not counting those snapshot moments. What I was really looking at is, what will my day-to-day life look like? And whenever I saw it, whether it was my sister or my friends, media, whatever, it was just going to be like, I don't want that. I just
Yeah.
don't want that. So I think lack of desire was like my overarching reason. And then like everything else falls
Yeah. Well, it really
inside of
is
it.
the first thing, right? Because
Hmm.
instinctually, knowing you and your story and everything you've told me,
Hmm.
instinctually, you never felt the desire to have children. So it was a lot of confusion. It really is the beginning of the child-free struggle that you really went through. I
Yeah.
mean, I call it a struggle because it was. I mean,
Hmm.
you were pressured and you felt this is the whole reason why we're doing
Right.
this is because of the issues that you went through and
Right.
fear of regret and
All the
all
things.
of the things that we
FOMO.
list.
Yeah.
Sure.
All of it.
All the things
Hmm.
your program covers really. And I can understand why that was number one now that we're talking through it, because
Yeah.
that was the beginning for you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was also a reason that wasn't accepted. And it was a reason that wasn't good enough
Yeah.
for others
Yeah.
to say, oh, okay, you must have thought this through.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lack of desire, then of course don't have them. It was more of, well, you should have them and then you'll see that you'll really be happy,
Yeah.
which
Unfortunately,
never made sense to me.
I don't know how much ground we've gained and parents have the conversation with them. Like, you know, when you grow up, you don't have to have kids. To even say that out loud to a child seems to be, I don't know. I almost feel like they don't even want to put the option there.
I don't know. I mean, that's a generalization. I have no idea, but I think you're right that it's most.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm
Just
just
from what
wondering
I've
how much.
seen, yeah,
Yeah.
because I have had conversations with people in my life that have been very supportive of the child free connection, very supportive of what we're trying to do, of the movement and everything. But yet I will still catch them saying to their kid something about when you have kids or when I'm a grandmother and things like that. And I don't know, it's that they're just doing it subconsciously because that's what's expected, right? I have yet to see someone say, if you want to do this, like as part of their conversation.
Yeah.
I can't, there's a lot of people I can't even imagine putting it out there, like you said, as an option.
Well, hopefully that's changing because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's
Mhm.
important that,
Yeah.
you know, you're presented with all options as anything in life, right?
Right, exactly. And it comes and it's also and again, that's why we don't know because there's plenty of parents that present choice, right? And ultimately what we advocate for is choice. Just
Yeah.
having the choice to make the decision that's best for each one of us. And
Yeah.
that goes with everything in life, not just being child free.
For sure. Yeah, my lack of desire came later in life. I had to work through it. I think instinctually you knew you didn't want to have kids. I fell under the spell of that's just what you do,
Right.
which a lot of people fall under. Um, yeah, it was baked in from the way I was raised that you will have kids and you know,
Right.
even in a negative way. I mean, they'd be like, "Oh, I remember maybe my mom or someone saying like, "Oh, I hope your kids don't treat you the way you treat me."
Yes.
Like that whole
That's a
thing.
big one.
And it's, you know, and that's just
Yeah.
a fight. I love my mom to death. But, you know, I think it was just so there was so much assumption driving my decision that or lack of decision, I should say,
Right.
that this was going to be a reality in my life.
Yeah.
And then as I got older and I started having relationships, I fell under the thought process that, well, if she wants kids, I'll have them too.
Mhm.
I now look back and knew that I didn't want them.
Yeah.
I genuinely remember thinking and feeling this overwhelming worry that the fun's over when I have to have kids. You know, the fun's going to stop when how long can I prolong having children with my partner before I have to cave in and give kids to her?
Oh God.
It's awful.
Bad.
I know, but
Like but
but
there's
I'm just
so
being
many.
truthful.
No, I know. I'm saying there's so many men out there that feel that way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I lived under that from relationship to relationship to relationship, but I never thought, yes, instinctually I was I was scared of it
Right.
and I was pushing back internally,
Mhm.
but I never once sat there and said, "Wait, why don't I just say I don't want to have kids?" Because
Right.
I guess I know why, because the relationship most likely would end if they wanted children.
But I also don't think you had the space. You didn't have the space or the knowledge to have that conversation even with yourself.
Yeah.
You didn't know that you had to figure that out. Is this something I want to do for the rest of my life? Is this something that I'm fully committed to? Is this something that I'm excited about?
Yeah.
It was more like, it sounds for you, it was more dread. Like someday I'm going to have to do this thing that I really don't want to do, but I have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to, my mental health, which is, and we talked about that in part one, but just to touch on it, because it does correlate with lack of desire for me and how it evolved, which was my mental health was a priority for me. And I knew that. I knew that I had issues. I knew that my life I wasn't happy. I knew that I had to work through stuff. I just didn't have the tools to do it until later. It would have been a big mistake for me if I would have chosen to just have kids to make someone else happy.
Yeah.
Or to do it because that's just what you do, or, I don't know. My life would have just been so different. And I just know deep down that I know I wouldn't be as happy as I am today.
Yeah. I mean, you know yourself more than anyone else, right?
Yeah.
We always say that. Yeah. And it's also why it's so important that in a relationship, this decision is made by both parties and that it doesn't weigh on just one person, because it is a contract essentially that you're going into when both people should, at least in theory, have the same stake in it and have the same amount of responsibility, so that one person can't say, well, this is what you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which can be very hurtful.
Yeah. And I think you give great guidance in your program about that, on how to have that hard conversation.
Yeah.
Because it should be front and center when you're in a relationship, new relationship, and you disagree on having children. You have to bring it to the front. It's a lose-lose, because if you don't bring it up, it's going to be prolonged and you're going to have that conversation and the dynamic of your relationship might change. Or even worse, you just cave in, as I was mentioning, and you have the child and you end up unhappy.
Right.
And you're in this relationship now where you're unhappy because you have a child that you didn't want to have instinctually. So my message is to anyone listening, and I say this because I really want to help. If you have doubts, or you're not sure, or if instinctually you don't want to have kids, just discuss it, or put it out there early, or at least allow yourself some time before you commit to having a child, if you're too worried or intimidated or whatever it happens to be, to speak about it to the other person.
Yeah.
Because
it's so much worse later.
You
can't hit the undo button.
Yeah. Certainly not on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that covers more.
Yeah.
I'm sure that we could continue. Maybe one day we'll do a part 3, but I think for now,
absolutely.
those are our top reasons over for part 1 and part 2. And as I said earlier, these evolve, and it's a beautiful thing to really see all these different ways to appreciate this lifestyle that we chose.
We love.
Yeah. And that we love so much.
Yeah. By the way, I want to mention that we are very excited for our in-person celebration here in Austin that you and I are hosting. If any of you are interested, please take a look at our website. Check it out. You can buy tickets there. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm not saying this because we're hosting it, but I am actually looking forward to it. And I only say that because I am an introvert by nature. I can be, even though I come off extroverted, I have a lot of anxiety and I'm shy and I don't really like to do these things.
Yeah.
I don't go out much. Veronica does most of the going out. But so I'm excited about this. And just so you know, if you're coming to the event, or if you're thinking about coming to the event, I'm just as nervous and I'm like, it's
anxious.
I'm anxious about it, but I think it's going to be a good time. We're not going to just sit around and talk about being child free the whole time. That's not the purpose of the event. Purpose of the event, and we only share this because we've met so many child free friends in Austin, and we've had such a good time.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's so much fun that in different ways, you just have different topics you talk about. Obviously, you're not talking about kids or anything, but there's so many more things to discuss, and we do that with our child free friends here. And we just wanted to branch out and bring that to everyone else. So
yeah,
if, you know, it's
absolutely.
April 22nd,
Mhm.
2023. If you're watching this later, we'll have another one coming
Yeah.
up. So check our website. Babe, I
And
had a great time talking
thank
as
you.
always.
I always do. And let us know if there's a topic that you want us to cover in our next conversation. I mean, we have a lot of things that we think we actually that we've talked about that we want to cover. But if you have anything, if you have a request, just let us know.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Let us know in the comments what inspired you to choose a child-free life or what's inspiring you to consider going down this path. If you missed part 1, you definitely want to go watch this video where we talk about the cost of raising kids, lifestyle, and personal development and spiritual growth. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we're excited to see you next week.